Now we're gonna see the essentials of control repetition, and we're gonna see the control variable, the initial value, the increment decrement, and finally the loop continuation condition. So we are gonna pretty much create a folder. So we're gonna pick this folder, we're gonna name it this, or you can name it whatever you want, and we are gonna right click, open in terminal, so code space that, so we can open it in Visual Studio Code. And right now we are gonna go to the file and we are gonna have a while counter. Okay, so this is gonna be some basic examples. So it's gonna be a while counter.java, like that. Okay, so this is a counter control repetition with the while repetition statement. So this is a public class. Okay, public class, like that, and you have to name it just as the name of this file, while counter, like that. And pretty much you can do this, curly braces from here and do it like that, or you can just do it to the next line like this. Okay, and right now we just want to have one file, so our main method is going to be inside. So we have the public state void main, the string argument, and inside of the main we are going to have an integer, and this integer we are going to name it counter, and we are going to initialize it to 1. Okay, so pretty much we are declaring the variable counter. This is of type integer, and we are initializing it to 1. Okay, now what we are gonna do is we're gonna use the while, okay, like this, and yeah, we can do it like that. And inside of the while, inside of the parentheses of the while, we're gonna have the condition. So while the counter is less than or equal to 10, we're gonna do something. Okay, this is the loop continuation condition, and that something is gonna be system. Okay, there's one System.out.println, and we are gonna have 2 arguments. So we're gonna have a string, and this is gonna be the variable that is the counter. Okay, and since we have 2 arguments, this is not gonna be just a println, it has to be a print format. So we have printf. Okay, so now inside of the double quotes we are gonna have the %, lowercase letter d, because this is we are picking or choosing an integer. Okay, integer and target. The lowercase letter d stands for or digit and target. Okay, now let me see. While the counter is less than or equal to 10, we are gonna print something. We're gonna print the counter, and let me see what happens if we just click here. Okay, let me see, and we're gonna have a bunch of one. This is obviously bad, so we can do is pretty much just, let me see, stop it like that. Okay, it's gonna take a lot of memory. So why that happens? Well, because we didn't put a stop, but we have the while the counter is less than or equal to 10, we are gonna print the variable. We're gonna print the variable 1. Okay, so pretty much this condition is always true. That's the reason we're gonna have a bunch of ones pretty much indefinitely. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to increment this counter all the way from 1 all the way up to 10. It can get to 10, but when it passes to 11 it's gonna stop. So to do that we are gonna do the ++ and then the name of the variable, in this case counter, semicolon at the end, and this is the increment control variable, and it's incrementing by 1. Okay, so let's do it again and let's see what happens. Okay, so we have 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, everything's fine. Let me see, next line. Okay, Okay, so as you can see, if I put the next to the next line, now I have it in pretty much horizontal. So you have 1, and to the next line you have 2, 3, 4, all the way up to number 10. What happens if this is counter is less than 10? So 10 is not gonna be here anymore. And let's take this m just for now. So let me see. And now we have 1 to 9. Okay, so we have that so far. Let's keep it again with our equal sign. Let's do it again. And now it goes from 1 all the way up to 10. It doesn't reach 11 because when the counter reaches 11, this condition is false. Okay, so the counter 11 is not less than or equal to 10, so this condition becomes false. Here what we can do as well is we can have the System.out and just print a new line. Let me see. Okay, yeah, we can leave it like that. So we have that. We can also increment like this, so we can increment counter. Let me see, we can do plus plus. Okay, and it's gonna get us the same result. Okay, let's clean it up, this one, and we can just leave it like that, or we can just comment it. So we're gonna see another example. Okay, this time, okay, here we were using the while counter, so now we're gonna use the for. So I can just pretty much, I don't know, just delete it and do it like this. So now we're gonna have a counter control repetition with the for repetition statement. So it's gonna be a for counter like this, for counter like that. And now we're gonna have a public class. Okay, public class, and it's gonna be for counter, and it's gonna be like that. Okay, so we are gonna have again the public static void main strings argument, and we are gonna have the for statement header that includes the initialization. Then we're gonna have the loop, continuation condition, and the increment. Okay, so we're gonna have the let me see, like this. We are gonna have the for. Okay, so like this, and inside of the parentheses of the for we're gonna have this integer. Okay, this variable of type integer named counter. So we're gonna initialize it to 1. This time we need to separate it not with a comma but with a semicolon. Okay, and the condition is gonna be that the counter, it has to be less than or equal to 10. Okay, and finally the counter is gonna increment by 1, so it's gonna be counter plus plus. So the variable is gonna be incrementing by 1, so it has to be the plus plus. Okay, so again, if we play run Java, so we have that for the integer counter that is initialized to 1, as long as the counter is less than or equal to 10, so the counter is gonna initialize okay, so let's play it to see what happens. And oops, we need to do the system, has to be the System.out.println, and we're gonna have 2 arguments. So the first argument has to be the string, and the second argument has to be the counter. Okay, and inside of the double quotes we're gonna have the % lowercase letter d, and this represents an integer. Okay, and it cannot be a println because it has to be the print format. Okay, so let's do it again. And here we have 1, 2, 3 all the way to 10. Okay, so it's incrementing by 1. So we can, I don't know, when the counter is 6. Okay, and we're gonna have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we have that. Okay, and let me see if instead of this counter, okay, instead of having the post increment, we have a pre-increment. So let's do that, and we're gonna have the same so far. Okay, let me see. Yeah, pretty much this is the example for the for counter. And finally, let's see something different. So let's just delete this file, or just rename it in that case, and we are gonna name it, we are gonna have the summing of integers with the for statement. So we're gonna use the for statement to sum the even integers from 2 to 20 and store the result in an integer variable called total. Okay, so we're gonna name it just sum.java. Okay, so we're gonna have in public class sum.java. Okay, and let me see, curly braces, and we're gonna have the public. Okay, let me see. Oops, sum.java. Wait a minute, what I'm doing here. Sum.java. Oops. Okay, so just like that, and then we are gonna have this public static void. Okay, and now we're gonna have this variable named total. So the variable named total, the type is integer, and we are initializing it. This time we're gonna initialize it to 0. Okay, so we're initializing to 0. Let me see, now we're gonna have the for, like that, curly braces, and inside of the parentheses of the for, we're gonna have the integer, and it's gonna be number. We're gonna initialize it to 2. Okay, and the number has to be less than or equal to 20, like that, semicolon. And now the number is gonna increment by 2. So pretty much this can be like this: number is assigned to number plus 2, that, or simply just number addition assignment assignment operator. So the plus sign and then the equal sign. Make sure that you put the plus sign first, don't put the equal sign and then don't do this. This is not right. Okay, so you have to put the plus sign first. So this is the addition assignment operator. Okay, now we can save it. And now let me see, we are not gonna need the curly braces, but for the integer, okay, for the variable that is initialized to the number 2, as long as the number is less than or equal to 20, we're gonna increment that set number by 2. Okay, and let me see what happens if we just click here. Well, yeah, nothing's happening obviously, but this, okay, so the number is gonna be 2, and then it's gonna be adding 2, so we're gonna have 2 plus 2, 4. And where we're gonna save that number 4? Well, in this variable named total. So the variable total, like that, variable total is we're gonna set it to it has to be to the total plus the variable number, like that. Okay, so the total is gonna be, let's say it's in the first iteration, the total is gonna be 2 plus 2, that's 4, and then in the same iteration is gonna be 4 plus 2 is 6, and then 6 plus 2 is 8. Okay, so it's gonna be total is assigned to the total plus the number, or we can use the addition assignment operator. Make sure the plus sign goes first. So let me see. Okay, something is, okay, the curly braces shouldn't go here, but let's do it anyway. So let me see, total number, let me see, oops, total number. Oh, okay, so we need the sys, we need to do like that. Okay, so we need two arguments here in the System.out.print format, so it has to be printf, like that, and inside of the double quotes we're gonna say that sum s, and it's gonna be percent sign lowercase letter d, and then to the next line. Okay, so pretty much we have sum is 2, okay, for the first iteration, sum is 6 for the second iteration, so the second total is 4 plus 2, 6. Then since the total is going to be 6, the new total is going to be 6 plus 2 is going to be 8. Then the new total is going to be 8 plus 2, that is going to be let me see like that, 2, 6. Okay, so what's happening here is that we don't need these curly braces here, like that, and let's do it like this, and let's play it again, and the sum is 110. Okay, so this is pretty much the way that we are doing it. So it can go from, okay, we can play the game, and the sum is gonna be 110 when we initialize the number to 2, with the condition is that the number has to be less than or equal to 20, and the number is gonna be incrementing by 2. So what happens if the increments by 4? Let's see what happens. So the sum is gonna be 50. Okay, what happens if increments by 8? So the sum is gonna be 30. Okay, and let's say that the number is gonna be, instead of 2, is gonna be 6. I don't know, let's do it again. The sum is 20. So we have that the integer, okay, the number is 6, so as long as the number is less than or equal to 20, we're gonna increment the number we're gonna increment the number by 8. Okay, so the total is gonna be the total plus the number. Okay, so this is pretty much how the summing integers with the for statement works.